You know, I was so curious in my life when I was doing performances in early 70s, how I can learn more about my body and how I can learn about limits of the body, mental, physical, what, you know, where mind goes when you perform and all this kind of stuff. And when I start traveling and going to be exposed to many different cultures, which I did around the world, I found that so many rituals and all ceremonies have a different kind of rules and different possibilities to learn these limits. So I actually tried to experiment all of them. I was so curious. I went, you know, around the globe a few times in my life, and I find certain systems who really work for me, but also certain systems who can work for the public. So from that experiences, I choose the best I can to share with the public and create Abramović Method, who can, you know, bring my audience into a state of contemplation, concentration, and to really be able to receive, you know, the work of art. Especially if you talk about performance. Performance is an immaterial form. It's happening in a specific time and a specific place, and you have to be there. So if you come into the performance full of your own worries and your own phone that you look every 5 minutes for the messages, or you know, or just being disturbed by watch that you look on time, how things are long or too short, you never actually can receive what is happening in the front of you. So I create certain reductions for the public that if you want to see work of art, maybe you should go through a certain amount of preparations. And this preparation was very simple. Can you put your watch in the locker? Can you put your computer in the locker? Can you put your mobile phone in the locker? And free of technology, go to the space and receive work of art. And this was the beginning of the Abramović Method. To listen to music, you have to be there with all your senses inside the space. But our life is difficult and busy, and when we come into the concert, we come with the luggage. We come with the luggage of worries, luggage with your own daily life or things you have to do after the concert and so on. So you never really receive music completely in really total silence and contemplation. So that's why I was thinking it was so important to create method for the music, where you have this space where you prepare yourself.
In the classical music world, there are certain codes, there are ways that people experience, especially classical music concerts, very specific codes, very old formulas through which people experience this music. And I think another part of this, of using the method to change the experience, is also to change these codes, to sort of strip the experience down to something where there aren't rules and codes, and people have the option of hearing a classical music concert in a totally different way. There are various exercises. So Marina's developed these exercises and this material over so many years. And so there's a selection of them that are really part of the method all the time. And when the public comes into the space, they can slow motion walk, they can look at colors, they can count rice, they can stand on these platforms. There's one exercise where they just stand on platforms with their eyes closed. And that usually where the platform is a sort of energetic nucleus in the space. And so there's a lot of connection there. Also, there's a mutual gaze exercise that we put in the method often. Sometimes we put a blindfolded exercise in the method. So it's all different. There are moments of total stillness and total like physical stillness, and then there are moments where people are slow motion walking, for example, where you're finding stillness within movement. And that's a variation on that kind of stillness. I always say to people and to the facilitators that we can't prescribe what people are going to experience in the method. Yeah. All I know is that we create an energetic space where people have a different experience than they were having 10 minutes before when they were riding the bus to get there. And of course, we hope for them to take certain things away from it and to be able to take that experience and bring it to listening to the concert, for example. But we can't, there's no prescription for it. People are really autonomous in this experience. They can slow walk for 3 hours, or they can stand for 3 hours and slow walk for 5 minutes. And it depends on, I think it depends on everybody's level of tolerance for being with themselves, being with others. Some people crave it really badly. They get there and they love that the facilitators take their hand. They love to stand with people. And other people feel much more comfortable lying in a bed by themselves.
So when I was very young, we had a very big grand piano. I don't know for what reason, but it was at house always since I was a child. And my mother, got me professor of piano, and I hated it so much. and he was teaching me, I had the 3 times lessons a week. And after 1 year, he said to my mother, Kamarad Abramović, she doesn't have, and she will never have ear for music. We're just losing your money on me. And then I was liberated from piano, so I was so happy. But at the same time, I actually loved classic music, and my entire education in early childhood in Yugoslavia was classic music. I was especially fond of Mozart and Bach and Tchaikovsky and Mahler, and so I was listening this, and I remember I escaped home when I was 29, which is another funny story. But basically, I come to Amsterdam, and till that time, I never, this was already 79, yeah. I never heard about Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and nobody. I just didn't know anything that is some other music happening on this world, that something exists. So then after that, I started really listening the world music. I was fascinated about the Pygmies. And then I was listening, the Aborigine music, and then the ragas from India. And so it's really like a cultural mix that I'm listening. I'm listening just everything which really moves me in a certain way, basically emotional.
I've always had a really huge relationship with music. My father worked in the music business when I was younger, and so I grew up with a lot of music in my house, but lots of kinds of music.
She doesn't want to admit, but she has the most amazing voice, and she should sing. This is what I think.
Yeah. I don't want to admit that, no. I sing. I used to sing a lot. I still sing. I mean, it's a huge part of my life in the sense that I have a constant dream of just singing in a band all the time. But I have to live one place in order to do that, I think. And I come from dance, and the connection, and I come from dance and choreography, and there was never choreography if there wasn't music, for me. It was always a really, really close relationship, and I think that music, I listen to music every day. It's a very, very big part of my life. And I think that that's also why in my work, choreography or theater or opera or whatever it is that I'm working on, or even these large-scale public participatory works, the thing that I always think about is tone. Like, what's the tone? And for me, tone and music have they're the same thing. And so it's kind of, so my work is always informed by that, like in terms of that.
To me, charisma is absolutely essential. It's not what he's playing, it's the way how he's playing and how he transformed this energy of the music into your heart directly. And there is no obstacle, there is no object between you and the musician. You just receive this energy directly and can elevate your spirit. And that kind of music is such a sublime and important. It's really for the first time, and for me it's the pioneering project, because when we done the work in the armory is a very big empty space who constantly is adaptable. Sometimes it's for the concert, sometimes for the theater, sometimes for dance, sometimes just for the regular exhibitions. So it's not really the concert hall, but you're offering us the concert hall, which is have their own restrictions and also their own rules. There is the podium where the musicians mostly play to the audience, and there is a fixed seats. So now we are actually moving everything upside down. We are changing the seating, we are changing how the concert, the hall is going to look like, and what the musician is going to stand, and from which part of the hall they're going to listen to the music, and what's his relation to the audience. So everything is going to be very different. And we hope that also this will help to the experience, that will be, you know, something out of the box, out of the normal concert hall experience. These days in concert hall experiences, people are coming to listen to the most incredible concert, and they still would have the mobile phones and they will text the messages or take the photographs.
Yeah.
But now, just the fact that actually every single person, like let's say 2,000 people, will enter the concert hall and they will not have the watches or their telephone is already very big kind of you know, move into the total different experience, different direction, that they actually have to concentrate on that moment, what's happening now in the front of them. You know, the art became very elitary and very money orientated, you know, and everything have the price on the art market. And I think that really the true art should not have any kind of borders and should be, you know, democratic, that everybody can participate and get the best out of it. So I think that, like, for me, Abramović Method is not art. Abramović Method is a tool in order to receive art in the best possible way. This tool is important to be acceptable for everybody. You know, depends, you know, people who belong to different religions, political groups, races. It is totally open for everybody who wanted to have this experience. And that's very important to me, to open to the very large group of people and create these communities who can share this experience. And this all work is we call community projects. That's the key word is community here, and that how that community can connect, you know, with the essence of art itself. The simple thing with the children, I mean, we experience really as a shock how the child will react at 12 years old when they get headphones and they think that they're not working because they're expecting that really this deafening music coming out of these headphones. But this actually, we introduce them silence. So the kids are not used to silence. They don't even know what it means, silence. And then getting incredibly enthusiastic that actually, oh my God, silence, it's so new for them. You know, my generation knew about silence, but this generation doesn't. So that's really exciting, you know, that you can actually reintroduce simple things as a silence, and also not just a silence, but also by putting these headphones and being in silence to actually helps you to be in the present moment of here and now, which we always miss. We always, you know, always think about future, which is going to happen, it didn't happen, or the past already happened. But just this being now, in this moment, that's the reality that we have to actually experience, and we're missing it all the time.
I think that one really exciting thing about this project is that I feel that the best access I have to this thing that's bigger than myself in the world, like with the moments that I felt the most moved or inspired are, often there were musical moments, but I could only have those moments because I was really present with something. And so I feel that, like, if I look at the way people experience classical music in my understanding and my experience of it, there are codes and regulations that I think have now limited people's ability to have just an authentic and visceral experience with the music. And I feel that the method in combination with this concert will hopefully change that, and people can have a different connection to it somehow.
That means that we're really doing something which is revolutionary, which is inventive, and pushing lots of borders and really thinking out of box. So let's see what will bring us and how this is going to develop in the future. But I remember, to me, I would love that this becomes some kind of a way that people can accept in a way of listening classical music and take this as a method, as a kind of starting point.